All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Smith, and I'm a science communicator with Wisconsin Sea Grant. Thanks for joining us tonight, and welcome to the third Lake Talk of the spring season, featuring the connections between Wisconsin's Great Lakes, tourism, and the economy, plus some great travel ideas. Some of you are familiar with Wisconsin Sea Grant already, but in case you're not, we're headquartered at UW-Madison, and we also have outreach folks in field offices around the state, including Superior, Green Bay, Manitowoc, and Milwaukee. We're part of a national network of 34 Sea Grant programs throughout the Great Lakes and coastal states, as well as Puerto Rico and Guam. Before I introduce our speakers, I'd like to go over a few details about our event tonight. This session is 1 hour, and that includes time for your questions. Please put your questions in the chat box at the bottom of the screen, and you can feel free to type those in at any time during the presentation while you think of them. And then when the presentation is over, we will just jump right in with those questions. Also, this session is being recorded, so if you'd like to watch it again later, you can, or you can share it with someone. We'll have it added to the YouTube channel for Wisconsin Sea Grant. And now a few words about our speakers. Ann Sayers is the acting secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Tourism. Prior to this current role, she had been the deputy secretary since 2019. She led the effort to create the Office of Outdoor Recreation within the Department of Tourism. Her background includes more than 2 decades in a variety of leadership roles in the nonprofit world, focusing primarily on marketing and administration. Among her many accomplishments, she's been a national spokesperson for the Great Lakes, and she even helped design a Muppet with the Jim Henson Company. She lives in Cross Plains with her family and holds degrees in international relations, geography, and environmental studies from UW-Madison. Also joining us tonight is Mary Monroe Brown. She's the director of the Office of Outdoor Recreation. With a background in marketing, public relations, fundraising, and more, she's built a career on her passion for the outdoors. She especially strives to bring together health, economic development, and inclusion. There's a lot more that I could say about each of them because they both bring a lot of deep experience to their roles at tourism, but I know everyone is eager to hear from them directly. So without any further ado, I will hand it over to Ann and Mary. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. We're thrilled to be joining you tonight. Jennifer, that was such a wonderful introduction. Yes, I'm Ann Sayers, an acting secretary here at the Department of Tourism. And by way of introduction, I'll just say that in those 20 years in nonprofit management and working for natural resource organizations, the thing that struck me is how you can't just tell people to care about something, that to really become a steward, one has to know a thing, experience a thing, and want to share. That's when they want to share that thing. And it's the same for tourism. And I love that connection. I love that when a tourist or even a resident falls in love with a downtown or a museum or an entire city, a trail, they want to show others. They want it to be a part of who they are going forward, and they want to protect it. And that became especially important in this past year, of course. So I'm really honored to be the acting secretary here at Tourism.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. I'm Mary Monroe Brown, and as Jennifer said, I am the director of the Wisconsin Office of Outdoor Recreation. Born and raised in Wisconsin, I grew up appreciating and playing in the outdoors, spending time on the trails, fishing, mountain biking, and enjoying the lakes of the North Woods. It has continued to be a passion of mine that turned into a career path working in the outdoor industry my entire life.
So Mary and I are going to be your quote unquote tour guides for the evening as we talk about how tourism and outdoor recreation are intertwined and how outdoor recreation plays a major role in the success of our state's tourism industry. With 800 miles of Great Lakes shoreline, Wisconsin's vibrant coastal communities are part of this recipe as their doors are open, inviting visitors to experience the state's rich outdoor heritage and natural wonders. Wisconsin's outdoors has long been a critical component of our tourism offering. In fact, the outdoors is consistently a top reason for visiting Wisconsin. In 2020, outdoor recreation was the #1 marketable reason for overnight trips in Wisconsin. The growth in outdoor recreation as a driver of trips in Wisconsin is trending higher than the national average. And the last Longwoods International study shows the outdoors are the main purpose for leisure travel for 9% of trips in the US, but in Wisconsin, the outdoors account for 15% of trips. Again, those are marketable reasons that visiting friends and family are not considered marketable. Wisconsin historically under indexes in the 25 to 34 and 35 to 44 demographic age group compared to the US norm. And we know outdoor recreation is incredibly important to this group. Raising the profile of our state and building awareness among this audience is a real growth opportunity for us. And I'll add that this group is highly motivated by beautiful lakes and water activities, which our coastal communities have, of course, in spades. In addition to our 2 Great Lakes, Wisconsin has a remarkable outdoor offering to support the travel desires among this growth market, with nearly half of the state covered by forests, more than 15,000 inland lakes, 43,000 miles of rivers and streams, 2 national scenic trails, and so much more. The opportunities to participate in outdoor recreation are endless.
We are really fortunate to have such remarkable natural places to enjoy here in Wisconsin. The Office of Outdoor Recreation is here to act as a hub, connecting the dots between the places, the activities, and the businesses of outdoor recreation. In Wisconsin, outdoor recreation is strong. It's big business. Outdoor recreation translates into significant economic impact for the state, generating $7.8 billion to Wisconsin's gross domestic product. And the growth of the outdoors has been outpacing the state's total GDP growth. Last October, the office released a first of its kind report on outdoor recreation in Wisconsin, produced by Headwaters Economics, an independent, bipartisan, nonprofit research firm. The report shows the sizable economic impact the industry has long understood. $1 in every $40 generated in Wisconsin is from outdoor recreation related activities, and this adds up to 2.2% of the state's GDP. Outdoor recreation also creates 93,000 jobs in Wisconsin. These 93,000 jobs comes from brands big and small, many with a national, even international presence. Wisconsin's outdoors attract and retain businesses and workforce talent. Wisconsin is home to a series of strong world-class brands, including the world's largest paddle manufacturing and bending branches, the world's most iconic motorcycle brand, Harley-Davidson, the headquarters of the $500 million corporation of Johnson Outdoors, the sole assembly plant for all Polaris snowmobile engines, the largest handcrafter of fishing rods in the US with St. Croix rods, the global leader in bicycle technology and craftsmanship with Trek bicycles, 4th generation family-owned pioneer in sock manufacturing with Wigwam, and dozens more of brands that call Wisconsin home. Wisconsin outdoors attract and retain businesses and their workforce talent. There's a direct connection between the natural resources, how we enjoy them, and the economic health and overall well-being of our residents and visitors. These brands make Wisconsin 5th in the nation for the share of all outdoor recreation related manufacturing. More than 8,000 people work in outdoor recreation related manufacturing positions in Wisconsin. We're ranked 5th in the country. They also add up to supporting rural Wisconsin communities. Outdoor companies like Wigwam in Sheboygan, Burger Boat Company in Manitowoc, Cruiser Yachts in Oconto, and outdoor companies in Superior are providing jobs in the Great Lakes coastal communities. Outdoor recreation is a critical Wisconsin industry, and it's looking for an entity to lead, facilitate, and provide resources. Milk and cheese aren't just another food and drink in Wisconsin. They're part of the dairy industry. Beer isn't just brew in Wisconsin, it's part of the beer industry. And other major industries are united by organizations that make connections and strengthen the work of individual members. The Office of Outdoor Recreation is leveraging the state's natural assets, its legacy of stewardship, and our fun-loving affection for the outdoors to support and uplift this essential industry. Take a look.
Bordered by two Great Lakes and the mighty Mississippi, home to 15,000 inland lakes, nearly half covered by forests, crisscrossed by 43,000 miles of river, dotted by rocky outcroppings and alive with abundant wildlife. Wisconsin's spectacular natural assets just beckon us to come out and play. And play we do. No matter the season, Wisconsinites find a way to go fast, take it slow, discover something new, push our boundaries, reconnect, refresh in Wisconsin's great outdoors. Outdoor recreation businesses know there is something special in Wisconsin. World-renowned brands have planted their roots here, making outdoor recreation big business. Wisconsin is 5th in the nation for share of all jobs in outdoor recreation-related manufacturing. That means we don't just ride bikes, we build the bikes. And we're not just gone fishing, we're busy crafting the rods. We like to paddle too, a lot, so we make paddles. And we make boats, binoculars, bows, lures, outdoor apparel, socks, yachts, and snowmobile engines. Outdoor recreation inspires the gear we make, the guides who teach us, the retailers that outfit us, the visitors we attract, the relationships we form, the quality of life we enjoy, and the stewards we become. For the first time ever, there is a uniting force supporting and uplifting the outdoor recreation industry for the economic health and overall well-being of Wisconsin and Wisconsinites. With the Office of Outdoor Recreation, there is a central hub for the industry where connections are drawn, efficiencies are identified, partnerships are formed, the profile is raised. The Office of Outdoor Recreation is leveraging Wisconsin's natural playground, our legacy of stewardship, and our fun-loving affection for the outdoors for the benefit of businesses, workers, tourists, and residents alike. Join us. outdoorrecreation.wi.gov.
It's our mission in the office to support and uplift the outdoor recreation industry and its partners for the economic health and overall well-being of the state and its residents. And we do this by aligning partners around the 4 key tenets of the office. We invite residents, visitors, businesses, and workforce talent to play, work, and live in Wisconsin, to experience the state's natural places and vast outdoor recreation offerings. We connect people to Wisconsin's natural places and outdoor recreation opportunities through access and education with a focus on inclusion. We believe people thrive when active lifestyles and outdoor recreation are promoted as ways to create healthy individuals and communities. And we believe sustaining Wisconsin's invaluable natural assets by encouraging outdoor recreation, the connection to place, and preservation of healthy lands and waters. And we're leading the way in this work. Wisconsin was the 14th state and one of the first in the Midwest to create an Office of Outdoor Recreation. And as more states add offices, competition to capture the economic potential of outdoor recreation is growing. New offices are being added all the time, and Wisconsin has a lot to gain in this moment. We're working to strengthen the industry network, something we've heard from our stakeholders. They want to hear from us. They want regular communication, and they want resources that can help advance their work. Here are some ways we're delivering on their feedback. The new Wisconsin Trail Report launched on travelwisconsin.com this spring. The idea for the report arose out of hundreds of industry stakeholder meetings where outdoor recreation businesses named the need for a comprehensive, updated trail report to help outdoorists get the information they need to have a great day on the trails. Now you can find current conditions of trail networks across the state from a range of land managers, including the Wisconsin State Park System, various county and municipal parks, as well as private or nonprofit organizations like nature centers. No other resource showcases the vast trail offerings in Wisconsin with current conditions. The office also just launched a brand new website full of resources, tools, and ways to engage, including the Outdoor Business Directory, where outdoor recreation businesses and organizations can find each other to connect and build relationships, or where you can find outfitters or rentals for kayak tours on the Great Lakes. Businesses and organizations are searchable by keywords, business type, or recreation type. The website also has a research library that provides a wealth of reports and studies in Wisconsin and nationally on the impacts of outdoor recreation, including the first of its kind report commissioned by the office on the economic impact of outdoor recreation in Wisconsin. The library aims to provide stakeholders with the evidence needed to build the case for projects and garner support. It also hosts an archive of email newsletters, recordings of past educational webinars, as well as the office's popular COVID toolkit, created in partnership with the Department of Health Services and the Department of Natural Resources.
The Department of Tourism has long recognized the importance of outdoor recreation to our tourism industry. And we created the Office of Outdoor Recreation to bring focus and support to the various partners in outdoor recreation. Their success is our success. The office is uniting and aligning these diverse stakeholders and working with the department to ensure we connect the travel destinations with the recreation activities and with the retailers and manufacturers supplying the gear, all with the goal of raising the profile of Wisconsin as a top outdoor recreation destination. So working together, we're leveraging each other's relationships to position Wisconsin in regional and national media outlets and gain influencer coverage that authentically positions Wisconsin as a premier outdoor recreation destination. Okay, I love this video. Jenny Anderson from Girl of 10,000 Lakes spent a long weekend in a cabin near Hayward last fall. As an avid fisherwoman, we connected her with a muskie fishing guide and set up a tour at St. Croix Rod. During her stay, she and her family ate at local restaurants, canoed and fished Wisconsin's waters, hiked a segment of the North Country Trail, and shared all of her experiences with her avid social media followers. The bloggers from Honey Truck, a couple who travel the world on their honeymoon for a living, which I missed the boat on, checked out their goal of visiting all 50 states with a visit from Wisconsin. Their loyal followers engaged with their travel content from around the globe, and many were wowed by their experiences in Wisconsin, from kayaking the sea caves in the Apostle Islands to hiking the Ice Age Trail. The team also secured Wisconsin as the only Midwest destination for an episode of Backpacker Magazine, their Get Out More TV series last summer. The episode showcased the state as an outdoor adventure destination and linked the state's gear manufacturers to the activities and scenic places to experience in Wisconsin. So partners there included Chippewa County Tourism, St. Croix Rod, Wheel and Sprocket, Trek, and Line and Kugels, of course. To further highlight Wisconsin in Travel Wisconsin's 2021 advertising campaign, the Office of Outdoor Recreation worked with partners to showcase the positive relationship between the many outstanding brands produced and used in our state for a wide array of outdoor activities. You'll see just a few shown in this commercial, but the production included many more to help support other assets that we'll be using throughout the summer in our campaign. So the summer 2021 campaign, The Wonder of Wisconsin, you feel it in the way it brings you closer together with those that matter most around unexpected moments, big and small, the kind you dream of making with friends and family, the kind you take home and retell for years to come, From the scenic Great Lakes shorelines to our beautiful Northwoods to the awe-inspiring Mississippi River bluffs, from our lively big cities and the world's largest music festival to the world's largest muskie, from our small towns with charm and all the charming points in between, from our water slides and our supper clubs to our waterfalls and our 15,000 inland lakes, 43,000 miles of river, and 17 million acres of forest land, we welcome one and all to the wonder of Wisconsin.
Summertime in Wisconsin is the best time. A time for new discoveries. Time for adventure. Time to reconnect with those who matter most. It's what a trip to Wisconsin is all about.
So during this National Travel and Tourism Week, I'm excited to share that the Traveling 20s have arrived. The last time we came out of a global pandemic, it was the Roaring 20s. It's the Traveling 20s. We're seeing so many positive signs of recovery in Wisconsin as travelers are getting revenge on those missed vacations and reconnecting with friends and family while discovering the unexpected in Wisconsin. And while there's no denying the last year was incredibly difficult for our industry, Wisconsin stood up for Wisconsin. And as a result, we're seeing lots of indicators that Wisconsin is well positioned for recovery. Comparatively, Wisconsin outpaced the national average in travel spending since the beginning of the pandemic. An increase in the share of overnight trips from in-state plus local spending all led to Wisconsin faring better during the pandemic than most other states. According to Longwoods International, local spending infused $2.5 billion into Wisconsin's economy that would have been spent elsewhere on vacation. This includes $821 million in restaurant spending and nearly $264 million on lodging. 86% of American travelers report that they plan to travel within the next 6 months, according to Longwoods International again. And that's up from 65% in mid-January and back to the highest level about the highest level measured since last March. And really it's vaccine distribution that's helping to drive that consumer confidence. Traveling 20s have arrived. Here you can see travelers are getting revenge on missed connections with friends and family by reconnecting with friends and family while discovering the unexpected. Here, the Arrivalist Daily Travel Index shows that Wisconsin returned to 2019 levels, a record-setting year for tourism for 2-night trips or longer as of March of 21. So we outpaced right now we're outpacing 2020, which maybe is to be expected, but we're also outpacing our record-setting year for trips of 2 nights or more. So that's pretty encouraging. Website traffic to travelwisconsin.com, another indicator of travel intent, is up more than 20% compared to 2019. Again, our record-setting year in terms of economic activity, but also a year where we set an all-time record for web sessions. So to be up over 20%, we're pretty excited. Early indicators show that travelwisconsin.com traffic from organic search is outpacing the national average as well. Traffic to outdoor recreation related content is up 21% over 2019 and 28% over last year at the same time, indicating travelers are still looking to plan outdoor adventures this summer. While interest and participation in outdoor recreation skyrocketed last year during the pandemic, people invested in the gear and the lifestyle and are looking to continue experiencing these activities during their travels to explore new destinations. And we know the dollar grows when residents and visitors recreate in Wisconsin. There are so many ways our economy benefits, from the gear that was designed and manufactured, to the retailers that sold the equipment, to the restaurants travelers stop at after a day of activity. Many travelers build outdoor recreation to part of a larger itinerary that includes overnight stays and other activities. Wisconsin's Great Lakes coastal communities are positioned very well to capitalize on this convergence of travel desires. Here are a few of our favorites.
Charming Bayfield is the gateway to the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore with lighthouses, sea caves, and some of the best kayaking in the world. The only access to camping on the islands via water transportation. And this year, the islands are reopening to camping. On the mainland, take in a big top Chautauqua show in their return season and expect limited capacity with new safety protocols. You can also explore the orchards and the Maritime Museum in the harbor town or ferry access to Madeline Island for more hiking, dining, and galleries.
Okay, the journey to Door County's Washington Island begins with a scenic ferry ride over crystal blue waters. And once ashore, you can tour the island by foot, bike, or boat, explore shops and galleries, visit a lavender farm, or stroll the limestone rocks on Schoolhouse Beach. This geological wonder is covered by the tiniest of white limestone pebbles made smooth and round by the tumbling action of the waves. The island is also home to Sand Dunes Beach, Percy Johnson County Park, and Little Lake Nature Preserve. There is no shortage of scenic outdoors to explore on Door County's largest island.
Located on the shores of Lake Michigan, Sheboygan offers a mix of sandy beaches, historic B&Bs, luxurious spas, and world-renowned golf courses. Stroll along the walk atop the sand dunes or camp under the pines at Coler Andre State Park. For the more adventurous, stop into EOS Surf Shop to book or surf or stand-up paddleboard. The city is also home to the whimsical Bookworm Gardens, as well as the John Michael Kohler Arts Center.
Oh, I love it there. And this is sort of my adopted home away from home in Wisconsin, the southeast corner. Racine and Kenosha harbors bustle with activity every summer. Book a charter to fish for salmon, coho, and lake trout. Racine's North Beach feels like the West Coast and often hosts the swim portion of a half Ironman. The city also boasts several sites of cultural interest, including the S.C. Johnson Wax corporate headquarters designed by architect Frank Lloyd Wright, also part of Travel Wisconsin's Frank Lloyd Wright tour, and the Racine Art Museum. And just to the south, Kenosha's crown jewel is its lakefront development, Harbor Park. The breathtaking parkland along the waterfront blends beautifully with the adjacent historic downtown, featuring quaint shops, galleries, an outdoor market, and eateries, all linked by a vintage electric streetcar system. The city's lakefront museums campus includes the Kenosha Public Museum, the Dinosaur Discovery Museum, Kenosha History Center, and the Civil War Museum.
So who's ready to go outside?
I am, Mary. So thanks so much for having us this evening. It has been so much fun sharing Wisconsin's amazing outdoor recreation scene and the ways in which our Great Lakes communities are such a big part of that. They both play major roles in the success of our tourism economy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Sorry there. I can't believe I forgot to unmute, but thank you, Anne and Mary, for that wonderful presentation and walking us through some new features on the tourism website and also giving us a sneak peek of those brand new ads showcasing Wisconsin. You know, you've mentioned a lot of great spots that are fun to visit. That trail report was new to me, so I will definitely take a look for that on the website. Let's see, I'm going to look in the chat to see if we have any questions. Just a reminder, oh, we've got one comment here from Stephen. He said it was a very impressive and wonderful presentation. Yes, thank you, Anne and Mary.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
And then let's see, we have oh, okay. Here we have a question about things that are quote unquote loved almost too much. This person says, I am thinking of, for example, Devil's Lake State Park on a weekend. Do you have a strategy to sometimes tamp down some areas and push others to build awareness and use? Or am I off base with this question and the view is all outdoor tourism is good tourism?
Mary, should I start? And then you can talk a little bit about some of the things
Sure.
we're exploring. But yeah, this is a really great point. And, you know, in some ways we're lucky. There are parts in the West and other states that have over tourism in a much bigger way. But you're right. Some of our state parks are really stressed to the limit right now. And so it's something that we are keeping an eye on. And we do that by, we do check in with the DNR regularly. We're very close with them. And we ask them, you know, where else can we be driving people? Where are you seeing lower numbers? I also like to take a look at where are counties that have restaurants and hotels that are by state parks that we can be driving people to. So we regularly talk about our content calendars and how we can push people into different parts of the state and make them kind of curious about where else they can explore. So you'll see that content come through in our articles. You'll, you know, 5 undiscovered gems, or, you know, 10 ways to escape the crowds, or that kind of content that we'll put out through social and on our web. But we're also looking at maybe being maybe a little bit more proactive about that going forward.
So it's a great question. So the office is just brand new. So we've been really fully staffed for a little over a year. But in that time, we spoke a little bit to you about how we're listening to stakeholders and what they're interested in seeing. So that's how the trail report came to be. But we're also in conversations with other national organizations about this stewardship piece and how we can implement that. As Anne said, we have a great working relationship with the DNR. And so collaboratively looking at how we communicate about the places you're talking about and educating visitors is something that we are in the process right now of looking into. So thanks for the question.
Mm-hmm.
We've got another good question here in the chat, and this person asks, what are the biggest things you learned from managing through COVID?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, as it relates to this topic, I mean, we all knew this, I think, but we have a world-class outdoor recreation offering, and it really did offer the respite that we all needed as residents. I know I was out there more, and I hear that from all of my friends and family, but we also offered that to tourists, and that's why we were able to pace a little bit ahead of the national average. Our hospitality, in terms of economic activity, our hospitality industry really struggled last year, but they also went above and beyond to provide experiences that were safe and to do, you know, create ways for economic activity to occur, whether it was takeout or other ideas like that. And so with outdoor recreation leading the way, we were able to kind of keep the doors open, keep livelihoods going, and support one another through this. So I guess the learning is just to just keep making sure folks know about outdoor recreation. We saw a 42% increase in number of fishing licenses sold, for example, but it was 142% increase in the number from out of state. So it is our outdoor recreation offering that is special and different and puts us on the map in a big way.
And just building on what Anne said, I think the other thing we realized is we're part of that national conversation. You know, I think a lot of times people feel it's baked into the DNA of other states, and maybe we're underrepresented in that. And I think really what we're hearing is everyone is on the same page and really values outdoor recreation in the state and wants to see it elevated in many ways. So I think that's really something we learned through this process.
Mm-hmm.
Great. The next question is directed to Anne. I'm asking if Anne can share some of the work that the Department of Tourism is doing related to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes, I'm happy to. So where to start? Coming out, you know, in 2019, when I first came into the agency, we identified the need for a strategic plan. And we did that with the help of 1,000 different pieces of input from stakeholders. And 5 major priorities emerged clearly in that work. And one, of course, was welcoming all, or the idea of embracing diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion in all of our work. And so the first step was to create a committee. They're connected to the Wisconsin Council on Tourism. There's now a connected committee. We have fabulous representatives, including your own Natalie Chin. We're so happy to have her. So they're tackling this. They're the most active committee we have. They meet very frequently, and they're making big steps. And they've kind of organized their work into 4 buckets. One is marketing and public relations. How are we spending the money that we have to reach new audiences? How are we portraying our state in that work? There's a ton of opportunity in that space. Second is with industry relations. How are we working with our partners in the hospitality industry to make sure that they have the training and resources they need to be doing well in this space as well? Third is our own internal operations, kind of looking inside the house and seeing how we're doing our own training and hiring practices and ongoing education work. And then there's finally like agency leadership. This is a priority of the governor's administration, and we are a member of this cabinet, and every agency is working on this to some degree. How does it all add up to something more? How are we connecting through all the levels of government and all of the work that's being done right now to really add up to real change? So I could go on, but just I'll leave it there maybe for now. But these 4 buckets each have, work plans within them. An internal task force was created so that the staff can really operationalize the ideas that come out. So I feel like we're really we're plowing ahead here on this, and with a lot of enthusiasm. It's an important need, and our folks are really excited to dig into it and make a difference.
Great, thanks for sharing that. I have another question here. The question says, does your agency have updated or new statistics on the economic impact of water-based tourism in Wisconsin? If so, where can we get this info? Current economic impact numbers specifically for water-based recreation is very helpful in making the case for water resource protection measures such as laws and funding.
I'll start with that. And so the economic impact report that the Office of Outdoor Recreation produced with Headwaters Economics is based on gross output. So it's really about what the manufacturing, what the sales of the product coming out of the state is. So it's not specific to activity necessarily, it's really specific to industry. We do have some boating numbers in that report, which we can highlight and share with you. But just as a specific economic report just for water, we have not produced that yet.
And I'll just add that I love this question. I love that people are looking to use this kind of research in their own work and their own advocacy. And because of that, we actually created a research library on the new Outdoor Recreation website, or Office of Outdoor Recreation website. So it's worth taking a look at what is housed in there, and know that if you have requests, like it's helpful to know what people are looking for. We can get very specific, from bird watching, to snowmobiling and everything in between. And it's important to keep track of that for all of the activities.
Great. Let's see, right now I'm not seeing additional questions in the chat. So here's another one just popped in. Somebody says, thank you for the talk. It was really interesting. A suggestion to your Washington Island list of attractions: KK Fisk Restaurant and the Granary to feast on the Lawyer, which is a type of tasty cod, and the restaurant is one of the few places in the state to get these fish. That's true. There's a fish known as lawyer, also known as burbot and eelpout and a few other names. It's a freshwater cod species that you don't always see out there. So
I did not know this.
Fun little fact. Also, Washington Island, I think of for the Norwegian style wooden church that's on the island, the Stave Church, also kind of a neat thing to visit. And I'm just wondering, does your data do you come up with profiles of different types of travelers? Or I'm thinking about, I imagine most people are pairing like an outdoor activity with something else. And in the communities that you highlighted, there are outdoor things, but also museums, food destinations. Wisconsin is known for breweries, but also more and more, distilleries, et cetera. How do people make those decisions about what to combine in a trip and kind of make this whole experience for themselves?
Yeah, I think that's something that really sets Wisconsin apart. I think a lot of people say, oh, we have something for everyone, but we really actually do. And we did the research on it, and it does set us apart from our competitive set. And the other piece of that around the outdoor recreation, if you want to be extreme and technical, you can do that here, but there's nothing intimidating about if you don't want to do that. If you just want a fun day hiking and you want to be here at the campfire afterwards, and you don't want fancy equipment or clothes, you can do that in Wisconsin too. And we are finding that with our target audiences, which are that 25 to 34 and 35 to 44, that folks are looking for a more robust itinerary. So outdoor recreation might be the draw or the anchor, but they definitely want to experience our culinary heritage. They want some of that farm to table kind of food or drink. They want to see the Frank Lloyd Wright Trail or a local museum or architecture, art, urban downtowns, our Native American cultural offerings. There's so much more that they want to build in, and it's once they get to travelwisconsin.com, it's easy to build it out. You can see how there's always a trail or some outdoor recreation offering that kind of can anchor the trip, and you can build out around it. And that really is different and special about Wisconsin.
Great. We have another question in here asking both of you what you think about the potential for agritourism in Wisconsin.
We're very excited about that, and it's something that we're seeing right in that same vein of this audience loving that experiential kind of tourism. So an opportunity to do a corn maze or pick your own berries or jump in a cranberry bog. Or stay, farm stays are really popular, pizza farms. More and more, we're seeing people building that into their itineraries. And I have to give a lot of credit to travel writers and influencers who I think are kind of setting the pace there. It's still new and different. So they're out there trying all these crazy ag farm tourism experiences and then tweeting it to followers who are like, I think I need a selfie doing that. And we are seeing an uptick, certainly.
I wonder if there's been any connections yet in this agritourism vein with fish farms, since there are some like Rushing Waters where people can go and visit and have a seasonal restaurant. Is that something that people could find on Travel Wisconsin?
I don't know off the top of my head if we have fish farms. I'm going to guess we do. It's the world's biggest website, but not officially, but close. So I don't know. I'm going to actually check. I think that's a really great suggestion.
Sure. Yeah, it just comes to mind because Sea Grant supports some research in sustainable aquaculture and has some connections. We have an Eat Wisconsin Fish campaign, which kind of similar to tourism encourages people to appreciate what we have here in Wisconsin and things that are unique, and just helping making those connections. Let's see, we have another question that's come in. The question is, how is your office promoting volunteer opportunities? Many state parks, nature centers, and museums depend on volunteers to cover staff and budget shortages.
Mm-hmm. What we're doing right now is working with volunteers as trail reporters. But like you mentioned, many of those places rely on their own volunteers. So really our role is to be the hub to connect people, but we are working with volunteers. We have about 150 volunteers who help us with the trail report, the hiking report, and the mountain biking report. And that's a new program that we just launched. And so that's going very well. And as you said, the other organizations really rely on volunteers. So if there's a way we can support those efforts, we certainly do, directing them to work with our nonprofit partners.
All right. No other questions in the chat right now, so I will ask you both one. What are some of your personal favorite spots along our Great Lakes shorelines? I know you threw out some great ideas towards the end of your presentation, but are there ones that have kind of special resonance for you?
Sure, I can start. I really grew up experiencing the Great Lakes shorelines. We'd spend all of our summers in the Northwoods and travel and really finding those secret places, whether they were waterfalls or hikes or canoe trips. I really have a whole series of special memories and secret spots that really have created my love for Wisconsin, for the outdoors, and the appreciation to sustain those places as well. So I don't think I could give you just one place.
And I don't think I'm allowed to in this position. They're all my favorite. But like I said, I did not grow up in Wisconsin. I came to attend university in Madison. And so my now family-in-law, or whatever the term is for that, is in the Southeast, Kenosha, Racine area. And so that piece now feels like where I'm, from in Wisconsin. But man, I have edible memories kayaking in Lake Superior, camping in Door County along, Peninsula State Park, and yeah.
Lots of great places to visit. We have another
Yeah.
question now in the chat. Just asking you, Anne, if you would talk a little bit about the department's work with the Native American Tourism of Wisconsin Association.
Yeah, this is a really neat organization that serves as an umbrella organization for all of our state's federally recognized tribes, and they promote the Native American travel offering. And so they're up to some really good things. If Suzette, who runs the organization, just had such incredible leadership through COVID when it was hard to be really promoting tourism. She kind of looked internally, dug deep, and they've rebranded, and they've really put together some beautiful marketing materials to tell the story of Wisconsin's Native American tribes, and really put an emphasis on the history, the food, the powwows. The casinos are part of the mix, but I think they would say it's important to them to present the full offering. And I think they're doing just a beautiful job with that. And so our role with them is just to stay close, connected. We have representation on our council. We have a staff liaison to them, and just make sure that we're highlighting what they want to see coming forward in their tourism offering. We've had some really Copper Crow Distillery up north. I think it's the nation's only Native American run distillery. I think that's correct. And we just helped them secure a great write-up in Rachel Ray magazine. So now it's national news that's there, and things like that are ways that we can connect and work together. It's really, we love working with them.
Great. I'll ask you a question because I'm not seeing any in the chat at this moment. But one thing that I thought was interesting in your presentation, I guess this is more of a comment really, but it was the connection between the outdoors and sort of attracting talent to Wisconsin. So not just tourism, but people, actually coming to live here for quality of life, for ability to live kind of an outdoors lifestyle. And I just wondered if there was anything you wanted to elaborate on with that, because that was an interesting angle and not something I necessarily expected to hear about from tourism, because I know most of what you do is probably focused on visitors, but this angle of people coming here permanently because of what we have to offer is interesting.
Yeah, but there's a couple parts to that. Anne can speak to the halo effect, but when the office was doing research, we have a whole series of qualitative research that speaks to why people choose to have their businesses in Wisconsin, because the work of the office is really around being the hub for the industry and nonprofits and businesses related to the outdoor recreation industry. And we really heard that it was a very important component in recruiting and retaining talent. So one of our favorite examples is from the Hayward Memorial Hospital. They worked with a nonprofit in the area called CAMBA, who came and built the trails, and it became this wonderful thing for whether it was a lunchtime mountain bike ride or an after work hike. Having the trails right there really helped with talent retention. We heard similar things from other companies across the state. Trek has trails outside of their headquarters, and being able to attract world-class talent and have world-class trails for a world-class brand was something they stated to us was a really important component. We heard the same thing from Organic Valley, that choosing to live and position their business in rural Wisconsin, having access to the outdoors, made a big difference. So we hear that that a lot, but I think what we heard also during COVID, as this phenomena of Zoom towns has taken hold, you know, the number one indicator in Zoom towns is outdoor recreation. Number two is broadband. But when people are choosing to go anywhere and live anywhere, we see a flock to those outdoor recreation communities. And lots of communities across Wisconsin are seeing that. People are making choices to be in a community where they feel welcome, where they have access to the outdoors, and where they can work remotely.
And
All
what
very
Mary,
good points. Oh, go ahead, Ann.
yeah, well, what Mary was mentioning was that called the halo effect. And it's this idea that every dollar we spend on tourism advertising does double, triple, quadruple duty in terms of setting a better perception for the state. So we have studies that show when people have never been to Wisconsin, but they simply see a tourism ad, they are more likely to choose Wisconsin as a place to live, to retire, to go to school, to buy a second home. And then we find if they see the ad and they actually come visit, that their perception in those same categories jumps through the roof, which should be interpreted to mean that they've set a good perception at the outset. They come and visit, they experience our product and realize it's even better than they thought. And that's kind of a big part of what is built into the brand, which is that Wisconsin's unexpected. You constantly hear people say, I didn't think that was in Wisconsin, or are you sure? Even when I showed this video to Longtime Wisconsinites, our new campaign, they're like, are you sure you filmed all of that in Wisconsin? Yes, we absolutely did. And we always over deliver, we overperform. And that part of that happens in the tourism advertising spend. So you always hear us talk about tourism advertising is not an expenditure, it is an investment in our state.
Great points. Well, I think we do not have any more questions in the chat right now. So is there anything else that either of you wanted to comment on or let our attendees know tonight?
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity to connect with you, to connect with the Great Lakes and with your passion around the work that you do, and really appreciate it. And we know that we're all connected in this work. So thank you for having us.
Well, thank you for making time for this. I know this is a very busy time for you. I'm sure year round is busy, but especially heading into this travel season. So, thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you to everyone who attended this evening. And then just a reminder that if you'd like to see this again or share it with someone else, relatively soon we will have this on the YouTube channel for Wisconsin Sea Grant, and it will be captioned. So keep your eyes open for that. And you can also see prior lake talks in this series, including a recent one on PFAS in Wisconsin waters, and also one about communicating with the public about aquatic invasive species, and some earlier talks as well. So thanks again, everyone who attended, and thank you so much, Ann and Mary. And hopefully this inspired, and hopefully this inspired people to get out there this season and enjoy, what we have to offer here in Wisconsin. All right. Thanks again. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night. Thank you.